everybody, it's Robert here, back with another video. Last video I did the pros and cons of smartphones, well, prepaid smartphones. This is part 2. So I'm going to talk about flip phones or BlackBerry-like phones, feature phones. And yes, I'm still talking about prepaid. But most of these can go into like contract-based phones as well. Alright, let's start with the pros of flip phones and feature phones. Well, one thing, battery life. I mean, you get at least a day, almost a week between charges. Especially if you don't use it very much, you actually can go up to about a week before you have to recharge it. Of course, the batteries are typically cool to the touch. They're still like small lithium-ion batteries, but either way, they're cool to the touch. So you don't have to worry about those batteries overheating. I mean, they have good, even the modern flip phones, they have good circuitry to keep it from charging when the battery is like almost 100%. And another pro is a physical keyboard, like a physical QWERTY keyboard on a BlackBerry. And for the regular flip phone, you'll have this little keypad, which is like 1 and then 2, 1 through 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And to type a text message, though, it does take a while, which I will kind of get to. Another pro is faster charging from the wall or even the car. And they charge up within a couple of hours, compared to smartphones, which they charge typically 2.5 to 3 hours. Although I have seen a hack, though, that for smartphones that you can use to supposedly keep the charge from escaping, I guess, and that you can charge it in like a minute. But I've never actually tested it, so I don't know. Also, another pro is fewer smears on the screen. And of course, the screen is smaller than smartphones, which can be a good thing or not. Most of these flip phones don't have a touch screen, so you don't have to worry necessarily about how big the screen is. And you can still play certain games on it too, whatever is built in. Now we're going to go to why the disadvantages of flip phones, or the cons. For one thing, it's not very customizable. You have only a certain number of feet of like wallpaper or ringtones that you can use. You can't really input a ringtone like you can with a smartphone. And now, if the phone has a camera at all, the camera is pretty suckish. Not as good as a smartphone's camera in terms of like quality and picture size and things like that. And of course, no customizable apps that you can download or buy. There's no store to buy those apps, and you really can't put them on a flip phone or a feature phone. Now, some feature phones do have a touchscreen, but most feature phones don't. So this leads to my next point, lack of features. Doesn't really have very much in the way of features, such as like, other than the basic calling and texting, which is good. I mean, kind of needed a little bit simple. But there's not going to be any Wi-Fi. You'll only have 3G, and most of those phones are not 4G capable. So you can only get them at the 3G speed. Even if you have the capability to access the internet. Most of them don't have Wi-Fi. There are a few feature phones, the ones that have a touchscreen, would have Wi-Fi, but very few do, if any. And of course, the biggest, in my personal opinion, the biggest reason, the biggest pro of a smartphone is the biggest con of a feature phone or a flip phone, which is no GPS. So you're going to have to get a dedicated GPS, which should run you about like $100. Some are like $70. So you shouldn't have much of a problem. And that's at Walmart, by the way. But if you can get a smartphone with, especially smartphone with Android or iOS, then you will most likely have a GPS. I would say if you do get a smartphone, just make sure you get a dual-core processor on it. Like at least 1 gigahertz. Anyway, a little bit off topic, but I probably should have said that in the last video. So let's continue with the cons of the feature phones and flip phones. Of course, I said no Wi-Fi, only 3G and not 4G capable, no GPS. Some phones are even without Bluetooth, so you can't really transfer files to and from the phone. Let's say you have a ringtone you like, or a wallpaper you like. You can't really transfer it without Bluetooth. And as I mentioned earlier, a very terrible camera. And flip phones typically have this way of writing a text message where you have to press a number on the keypad multiple times in order to get a certain letter. There's a workaround with it called T9 that I used to use. In fact, I used to use that. A friend of mine actually told me about it, which made it a lot easier to type a text message, which it would take less than a couple minutes as opposed to almost 5 minutes for a text message. So that's another con. The camera is like 0.3 megahertz. 0.3 megapixel, which is very low resolution camera and doesn't take good pictures at all, especially in low light. Okay, that is all of the pros and cons of both smartphones and flip phones / feature phones. If you have any questions or anything you want to add, just reply in the comments below. And suggest also suggest other videos you want me to do. If you want me to do music or more technology episodes, just technology videos, just let me know in the comments below. And I am also on Instagram and Facebook. And I also have a Pinterest account as well. Alright, take care and have a good night.